This is a Section 2 podcast. This is Newton's third law. Newton's third law states that whenever an object exerts a force on a second object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite force on the first object. So once again, we're talking about that interaction, the two forces in an interaction. And one force we're going to call the action force. In this case, let's cause the man pushing on the ground to be the action force. The other force is going to be called the reaction force, and in this case it's the ground pushing back on the man. Neither force can exist without the other. They both have to be occurring because the forces come in pairs. And the other thing about it is they're equal in strength and opposite in direction. And another thing is that they occur at the same time. So often you'll hear is Newton's third law is to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And in our case, it doesn't matter what we call the reaction force and what we call the reaction force, because they both exist together. Let's look at a couple of examples. This car is pushing on the road. The road is pushing back on the car tire. Man's pushing on the refrigerator. Refrigerator's pushing back on the man. The space shuttle is attracted to the Earth by gravity. The Earth is attracted back to the space shuttle. So here we could say the forces always occur in pairs. If you push against the floor pushes against you. The tires of a car push on the road pushes back on the tires. And that's really what makes you move in a car, is the road pushing back. You can see with the swimmer here, the swimmer is pushing on the water is pushing back on the swimmer. So really, this is one of the things that people don't understand. It's not the swimmer that's making them move forward. It's actually the water pushing the swimmer forward. And these actions, of course, depend on friction occurring. If someone's trying to walk on ice where you don't have friction, they may not be able to exert any action force against the ice. Therefore, they're not going to go forward. So without the action force, there cannot be a reaction force, and then therefore you're not going to have any forward motion. So look at the girl. She's jumping from a boat onto the dock. So what happens when she pushes on the boat to go forward? It pushes on the boat pushes on her, and she's trying to go forward. The boat is going to go backwards. When the dog wags its tail, the tail wags the dog also. The dog actually shakes because the tail is shaking too. So what happens when an object exerts a force on another object? Newton's third law states that whenever one object exerts a force on a second object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite force on the first object.